Yes, sir. What's to do, everybody? We're live here in Pullman, Washington at WSU in the Cub, right, for our pregame show with the Apple Cup guys. You know, the Big Apple Cup is today. We're joined with beat writer for CougFan.com, Jamey Vinnick will be on the show, as well as writer for the Athletic Seattle, Michael-Shawn Dugar. We'll also be joined with 2014 All-American receiver Vince Mayle and the legendary throwing Samoan Jack Thompson, guys. I'm super fired up about this pregame show. Let's get right into these interviews. Yes, sir. We are joined with beat writer for CougFan.com, Jamey Vinnick. Jamey, what's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Mac. How we doing?
Oh, man, I'm good, man. I can't complain. I'm in the Cub right now being loud and people over here being peaceful. I hope I don't look too obnoxious, but I'm happy to be in Pullman, man. Ready to see this Apple Cup, bro.
Absolutely. Can't wait for it.
All right, then. So let's get right into it, man. So I want to start off with your overall thoughts on the WSU season so far this season, right? What do you think? How do you think they've been playing? What's your overall thoughts? I mean, you've been with them since spring ball. You've been with them since fall camp. Now the season is coming to an end with this Apple Cup. So what's your overall thoughts on WSU?
Yeah, I think it's been a successful season for them. Obviously an Apple Cup win would certainly put a capper on that and potentially a bowl win as well. But, you look at a team that lost a lot from last year, in terms of offense. You lose Jaden Delory, you lose Max Bordy, Deion McIntosh, Travell Harris, Calvin Jackson, Abe Lucas, Liam Ryan. You lose so much.
Yeah.
And you still have been able to put together a winning season. I think it's a testament to what Jake Dickert has built here. And that was only talking about the offense. I mean, you lose Jahad Woods and Justice Rogers from the middle of that defense, two veteran linebackers. You lose your safeties. You lose Jalen Watson, who's in the NFL. So I think for Washington State to have gotten back to a bowl game, especially when you're 4-4, you're staring down a tough 4-game stretch where you've got Stanford on the road, then a feisty ASU team, then obviously the personal battle against Arizona.
Yep.
And for them to win all three, I think shows a lot. I think they're at that stage where they maybe aren't quite at the level of the top 25 teams. I think if you look at what's happened in those games, all four losses to teams in the top 25, but they're good enough to beat up on teams they should beat. And that's a good step to be at. And I think they'll have the opportunity next year. You return a good amount of guys. You'll have a few holes to fill here and there, but I think there's an opportunity for them to take that next step and be able to beat some of the ranked teams next year.
Totally agree, man. I mean, we lost so much last year, and just for this coaching staff in their first year being together, being able to keep the ship steady and kind of get us back to a bowl game, I think that's awesome, right? So what are your keys to the Apple Cup today, man? What do you think the Cougs have to do to win this game?
I think the big thing is they've got to limit the UW offense. I mean, it's one of the more high-powered offenses in the country. Michael Penix leads the nation in passing. It's a lot of what Coug fans are used to in terms of what they saw on their own field, in terms of the air raid. And, it's not quite as pass-heavy as Mike Leach's offense was. They do run the ball, but Penix he's a really surgical passer. They run a lot of quick 8-9 yard outs. And
man, and he's accurate, dude. He gets it out, man. I mean, right hash, he be on the right hash, 3rd and 9, they'll do a 10-yard out to the opposite sideline, and it's like on the money, on a tightrope. I love his game. I'm not gonna lie. His game is pretty impressive.
And I think so many teams now, it's you need 7 yards and they'll run a 4-yard pass play. It's like, why? Well, what's the point of that? I think UW does an excellent job of knowing what they need to pick up the first down and running a route at that length, or that depth. So I think that the key for Washington is they've got to get pressure on him. If you look at last week, you probably wanted Jaden Delory to stay in the pocket. You don't want Michael Penix in the pocket. You want him moving around. He's not immobile, but he's not going to beat you on the move and with his legs like other quarterbacks might, like Caleb Williams or Jaden Delory might. He's going to beat you if he has time to sit in the pocket and deliver. And that kind of goes to the Wazoo offense as well. The Cougars need to control time of possession. The easiest way to stop Michael Penix and UW from scoring is to not give them the ball.
Exactly.
So if you can put up 5, 6, 7-minute drives and just eat some clock and run the play clock down to 2 or 3, that's where you could take advantage of a potential, advantage there. I look at what Idaho did in the first game against the Cougs. They would run that play clock down. They tried to slow that game down as much as possible, and it almost worked. I mean, they came within a drive of tying that game and potentially winning it. I kind of think Washington State might go at the same thing. Try and do a little bit of that and try and just kind of use the clock to their advantage. Run clock, run time. But then I think offensively, you got to try the vertical game. UW's secondary is not very good. This is not the secondary we have seen in years past under Chris Peterson and Pete Kwiatkowski. I think that there's an opportunity to stretch the field vertically and take advantage of some injuries and some, just inefficient play back deep.
Man, and that's my thing, man. All season, I've been waiting to kind of like see what outside receiver will emerge as kind of like that vertical threat. So you acknowledging that the UW secondary is kind of weaker right now. Hopefully, we can exploit that. Real quick before I get you going, I get your Apple Cup prediction. Right? What made you get into journalism, man? You sound so great speaking right now, man. You know a lot of details, a lot of facts, man. I know you're serious about your job. So what made you get into this?
So, I mean, I think like any other sports fan, I grew up dreaming of being a professional athlete and playing at the highest levels. It became clear at the age of 14 that wasn't going to happen. And it's funny, I actually was sitting in a high school class, and they were talking about, the college and the future and SAT. And my first thought was, holy smokes, what am I going to do? And then I started to realize, there's probably a career in sports for me. So actually through college, my goal was to be in broadcasting. But I graduated right at the height of the pandemic in 2020. So kind of didn't have a whole lot of opportunities to broadcast. I was already working for Coug Fan from the year prior, so just kind of kept rolling with that. And, saw an opportunity, and then last year was offered a chance to come back to Pullman and cover the team full time. So it kind of just happened that because of when I graduated and because of when the pandemic was at its height and there wasn't a lot of broadcasting jobs, it just kind of moved me into the journalism field, which I dabbled in before as well.
Yeah,
and kind of rode with that.
Man, hey, you got the voice for broadcasting, man. You need to start your own pod or something, man, because
I
hear it
appreciate
already.
it. I appreciate it.
I truly appreciate your insight and appreciate you just telling us about your story a little bit, man. So what's your score this game, man? Do you predict the Coug win? I'm guessing you're predicting the Coug win. So how much we win by, and what's your final score? What's your score prediction?
I've been pretty bad at these predictions this year, honestly. I mean, I predicted a Wisconsin blowout and was wrong. I predicted an Arizona win over the Cougs and was wrong. I'm going with the Cougs, though, this time. I just think being at home, I think they see the opportunity. UW's obviously going to be fired up. They remember what happened last year on their own field.
Yep.
But the one thing I have stuck to this entire season is you don't see a Jake Dickert team come in unprepared. It just doesn't happen. They know what their job is. When they've lost games, it has come down to execution and sometimes the opposing team having more talent. I think the Cougs pull this one out. I think 31-28. UW gets theirs on offense, but the Cougs make a couple late plays, maybe on defense, and come away with a big win.
All right, 31-28, man. I'm penciling it in, man. Thank you so much, Jamey, for your time, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, Ivan. Appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. We are joined with 2014 All-American, All Pac-12, All-World, WSU single season receiving yard record holder, my brother, Vince Mayle. What's the deal, man? How you doing, dog?
What's happening? Don't hate the Brody.
Don't hate the Brody. Most hated, the dirty. Don't hate the Brody. Hey, bro. So before we get into everything, guys, so obviously I watch the receiver position, and you know way more than me. So before I ask you the question about the receivers on the WSU team, I want to ask you a question about playing receiver in the air raid. How was your development learning the air raid, learning the principles, and learning all those things when you first got to WSU? Because I can assume that it's a transition, a learning process. So can you just talk about a little bit how receivers develop in the air raid?
The faster you can find the open windows, the faster you're going to get the ball, like straight up. The faster you understand coverages and when that window is. If you could, it's hard to just like explain. I can't really explain it. But once you find the windows and you find the comfortable windows that the QB like that's kind of how the air raid helped me develop. It helped me develop like just understanding coverages. Like you couldn't really disguise nothing because we seen everything. So
do you feel like repetition helped you with that then? Like kind of being on the same page with Khan, getting into that rhythm, that's what helped you ultimately?
Yeah, bro. We probably ran so many routes a day. Like and all that, just like I just remember my junior year, we was playing Oregon and I never got the ball on 95 on off coverage.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm not going to get it. So I didn't really run my route. I look up, the ball is coming to me. I was like, see, that's it. That was just me. Like, off coverage on 95, I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I ain't never jogged a 95 on any coverage because I knew it at any point I can go get it now.
Exactly. Makes sense. I get what you're saying, dog. So what's your take on the WS receivers right now, particularly the outside receivers? Like anything you seeing, anything you noticing, any tips you can possibly give them to help take their game to the next level?
Man, it's different. It's a different offense, bro. Like it's
Yeah.
not really air raid.
Mm-hmm.
Like they run the rock a lot. And
Yeah.
so it's just a different style of play. And those
Mm-hmm.
guys, I didn't have to experience that. Like
Yeah, I
with the
get
guys, it's hard to like critique the guys on two different systems and two different schemes. So it's like, but they out there blocking for 25.
yeah, they are.
I want to
They
call him
tough
Jamal
for
because you remind
sure.
me of Jamal, just that
He does. He
2-5.
does. He does. He does.
But they out there blocking their ass off, though.
I'm with you. The offense is different for sure, and I feel like ultimately, I guess that a lot of us Cougs are just the past 8-10 years has been greedy with good receivers, right? I mean, before you got there, it was like Marquise Wilson, from Keys to you to Dom to Gabe to Pat. Like you just hear those
Yeah,
names rattled off, right?
all
So
big bodies.
you feel me when you kind of have like a year when you're not seeing that explosive number one option on the outside is kind of just a question mark for us cool fans. That's all, man. So what I got a little tough question for you right now. I'm putting you on the spot. Top 5 wide receivers all time at WSU. What's your top 5?
So it might be a little tainted, you know. I'm a young coot, like 2013, you know. So
Yeah.
in no order, excluding myself. I'm not putting
Excluding
myself
yourself,
in
so you
there.
taking yourself out of this.
I'm taking myself out of there.
Okay.
In no order,
All right.
it's definitely Keys,
Okay.
Dom, Gabe, River, the young one, the Patman. I
Patman.
like
Okay.
Patman. I like Patman.
Ooh, okay.
And
That's a solid 5.
I like Patman. Uh, and Zay. I
Zay.
cannot
I
knock
knew you was
Zay.
gonna
I
say Zay.
can't knock Zay.
Hey, I knew you was gonna say Isaiah Myers. If y'all didn't know who Zay is, Isaiah Myers was cold,
Yeah.
man. I think he was definitely overlooked just because he was in the same receiver room with like you, Gabe, and Dom. But man, Zay was so cold. I still remember that Oregon
Yeah.
game, some of the catches he made when we played Oregon your senior year, bro. Like,
Zay was unreal. Zay is like he like Gumby. Like I don't know how he made catches, bro. I'm like, how you do
fast.
that, bro?
Y'all
How
definitely
you do
complimented each
that?
other well. So what's your Apple Cup score, man? What's your final prediction on the Apple score? You think Cool's gonna win? UW gonna win? What's your final kind of prediction and score on that?
I'm gonna say we win by a TD, but we really gotta control the rock. We really
Yeah,
gotta run the ball. And control time of possession. Anytime we control time of possession this year, we've been successful.
absolutely.
And I feel like that's what we need to do to win.
Man, we got to do it, bro. We got to do it. I feel the same way. I earlier this week I told myself I was like, dude, it's gonna go two ways. It's a controlled game and we win by like a 3 points, by a touchdown, 3 points, or they blow us out. It's literally either of those two options. That's how what I see
Yeah,
because
yeah. You
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 know.
you ain't right for thinking we getting blown out,
Hey
bro.
man,
I'm over you.
hey man, I
I'm
got I
over
got
you.
I got PTSD when it comes to Apple
I'm over
Cups.
you. Trust me. You
Hey,
beat
do you have any
reporter. Beat reporter.
beat reporter? Hey, do you have it, guys? Ben Smaley right there, man. Appreciate you coming on the show, bro.
All right, bro. Don't hate the Brody.
All right, don't hate the bro. Yes, sir. We are honored. We are honored and thrilled to be joined with an absolute legend, man. The throwing Samoan Jack Thompson. What's up, sir? How you doing, man?
Good to be on with you, Ivan. This is pretty cool. You're a multifaceted dude.
I mean, I try to just do what I feel my purpose lead me to, right? We talked earlier today, and we talked about my career and kind of me doing this stuff too. I just go by the beat of my drum, man. I just do me. I'm a firm believer in finding your purpose and just sticking to it. So that's what I'm doing.
Right on, Ivan. That I couldn't put it any better. Find your purpose and go for it. And I applaud you. Good work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So before we get into the game, right? we was talking earlier about the Cougs First, the business and organization. I believe that you kind of started up with some other people, and I was wondering if you could just kind of just talk more about that and share some knowledge and share some information about that, because we're gonna have some Cougs watching this, and it seemed like a very, very great thing for us Cougs. So go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Ivan. About 12 years ago, got together with brother Rob Tobick. You remember Rob? He played for the Cougs. He was Drew's center. He played 14 years in the league. And then Glenn Osterhout, just an iconic Coug in his own right. And three other guys, Paul Dent, Mike Bernard, and Kyle Bosler.
Yep.
We're the originals. We're the ones that found Cougs First. And we all came together. We all had our own separate tales as to why we wanted to do something like this. But we all came to the realization it was time that we got Cougs together in the business front. Time to let Cougs know, fellow Cougs know where all the different Cougs are. Today we have about 250 Cougs involved with Cougs First, and basically the name Cougs First came out of the line of, when you're looking to purchase products or services, think Cougs First.
Oh.
And we've taken it one step further. When you're looking to hire, think Cougs First. So we have a career mode element with this, and it's grown tremendously. We have terrific sponsor partners in BECU, USI, Washington State University is a major sponsor of ours. President Schultz. We couldn't get a better supporter of the Cougs First movement, and our mission is to make sure that all Cougs out there, before you make a purchase, to intentionally seek out Cougar-owned and managed businesses. We don't say, that you give the business, but we ask that you give us an opportunity to earn your business. What
Absolutely.
better way to prove that Cougs are really daggone good at what they do than to give them a shot at your business.
Absolutely.
And from everything from hotels to mortgages, I'm in the mortgage space, to car dealerships, restaurants, you name it, we're in it, and at the highest levels, and we're very proud of that. And our whole mission is to showcase Cougar-owned and managed businesses, and also Cougs are looking to enhance their careers.
Amen, man. And that seems like such a cool thing right there. I know me, I'm going to become a member as soon as possible myself, because we got to still keep it in the family in a sense, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you're already going to find somebody to get you a mortgage or find somebody to buy you a car. You're already going to have to do that regardless. So why not make it be a Coug, right? Why not, create that fellowship outside of just being in Pullman, making it all around Washington and helping each other out. So I think that's super cool, man.
Yeah. Two thoughts on that, Ivan. For me, in 2009, I wanted to buy a Ford Flex, and I got to thinking, I should try to find a Cougar-owned Ford dealership, and I tried to find, out by calling the athletic director here at the time, but never got a response. And so I was in Pullman and actually drove by Jess Ford here in Pullman, and when I went into the dealership, I'm thinking, why would I buy it here? I know they sponsor the Cougs, and I don't want to give $45,000-$50,000 to a Husky, for goodness sakes, right? So that for me, was what really resonated. That was in 2009, and then also one saying that really resonates for me is, you remember our beloved Elson Floyd. He coined the phrase world class face to face, and the bottom line is, our university is world class. Let's do it with each other, and give each other an opportunity to earn one's business and do business with each other. So that's it in a nutshell.
No, I feel like it's awesome. And like I said, I'm going to promote it. I'm going to push it, because it's a lot of Cougs all around the west side too, right? We're just not here on the east side of Washington. We're on the west side too. And it's good to know some resources you have and know that people have your back, right? We can't make it seem like, just because, you're a Coug, you're not going to be getting no preferential treatment in Husky territory, right? Because even though we're in Husky territory, it's a lot of Cougs out there with a lot of great things going on. So what's your thoughts on Penix Jr. and Campbell?
The two of them are playing I believe, at the highest level of all the quarterbacks, and that's saying a lot. And I think that his accuracy, his ability to thread the needle into tight holes, and in terms, just threading the needle. I mean, he's really impressive. He's got though he throws from the left side, he throws dang well. I mean, it's not if he's going to the play on Sunday. It's just when and where he's going to get drafted. So I'm very, and that's saying a lot for me to admit that about a quarterback wearing purple. Now, as far as our quarterback and Cam is as gifted physically as any quarterback in the league. Now he's he's learning. Definitely playing the Pac-12 is he's getting a cram course in how to be a top-notch quarterback, and it's not if, it's only when. And he's hitting it. He just needs to find his stride. Our offense needs to find themselves. I mean, you think about it. We lost 80% of our offensive team, to graduation last year, and people leaving early. And so we had to fight through that. Our offensive line has been decimated with injuries, and through it all, we're maintaining. And thank goodness for our defense, because they've been the strength, the last couple of years, and they're proving themselves this year. And the thing I'm looking forward to is the clash between the Husky offense and the Cougar defense. And then our offense, if we continue to grow and get that the running game going, it's fingers crossed, good about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I get you going out of here, Jack, I was wondering, what was your score prediction? What do you think the score is going to be, and who do you think win?
Well, I have a pat statement for predictions on Cougar outcomes. I always say Cougs by 50. And again, I shared this with you before. Cougs by 50 is kind of like a rallying call. It doesn't matter, if we're rated to win or we're picked to lose. We're going to go in with the attitude we're going to just kick butt and take names and let the chips fall where they may. And at the end of the day, let's win by 50. Cougs by 50.
Hey, I love it. There you go, guys. The legendary Throwin Samoan. Appreciate you so much for hopping on the podcast. Yes, sir. We are now joined with writer and reporter for The Athletic Seattle, friend of the show, the new voice or the new age voice of the Seattle Seahawks, my brother Michael-Shawn Dugar, or we call him Durag Dugar.
Yes, sir.
What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm hyped for today, man. This is a big day. I'm not a fan of the 7:30 kickoff, but yeah, that's real.
That's
late.
Wild. That's wild.
Yeah,
the 7:30 kickoff was crazy. Just...
But I hope that gave some students more time to go back. Because when it was on Fridays, Black Fridays, that was just not feasible, Especially at noon, you have Thanksgiving with your family on Thursday evening, Thursday, whatever. The quick turnaround was not feasible, but this gives people, it's just like going a day early. Which is
absolutely.
Going back to school. So I like
absolutely. That. And I know the pass, I drove up here too. The pass was supposed to be a little bit snowy, so I know a lot of people left Friday to get back to Pullman. So I'm assuming it's gonna be a packed house. I'm hoping it's gonna be a packed house, right? So the Apple Cup is always gonna be a lot of pride in it. So I'm hoping a lot of even Huskies come through and we just have a good environment. So before we get into Apple Cup, man, how was the Germany trip, man? My boy is not about to go to Germany, and we're not about to talk about it. Like, how was the Germany trip?
The Germany trip was eye-opening. It was just a lot of love, not just for the Seahawks. Like, there's a lot of people there who just follow my work, follow The Athletic or follow the podcast or whatever, and they were just, showing love. In 2021, I had been approached by these guys who are writing a German book about the Seahawks, just like the history of the franchise.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to do the forward for the book, and I was like, that's cool. I've never been in a book before so I was like, that's dope. I did a forward. And they sent it to me, and that was cool. I never really read it because the whole book's in German except for the forward.
Yeah.
So I just got the book, but I brought the book out there with me, and I met the two authors who wrote it. So we got to just meet and talk and hang out, and they signed the book for me. I signed the book for them. So that was very cool. It was just moments like that, So there's a lot of love and a lot of passion for the Seahawks, man, and just NFL in general. and they have to work hard for their like
Yeah.
memorabilia is harder to get out there because you got to wait for it to mail overseas. The games come on at funky times. The games are like in English, like it's just so much harder to be a fan. I'm sure some people in America can probably relate because it's very, very similar to rooting for your favorite, European soccer team or something like that.
Yep,
the games in the morning, the gear is not just sold in your local Walmart, and you got to stream it on your phone in the middle of the night. So I think just meeting people who were like that for my hometown team was very that was crazy to meet people from Berlin who were big Marshawn Lynch fans. That's just crazy. To think about.
Man, it was funny because it was like when you was looking at the game and just the build up through the week, it was Seahawk fans and Brady fans. There were no Buccaneer fans.
Yeah.
It's really Seahawk or Brady. That's it, right? So it just shows the power of Seattle Seahawks, how their brand has reached overseas, especially into Germany. So I want to talk about Geno too as well, man. Geno is obviously turning heads. I know this is a day of Apple Cup. This is a day of talk about UW and WSU, but now that I got the voice of the Seahawks here, we got to talk some Seahawks. So how do you think Geno been playing this year, and what's your overall analysis on him?
Geno's very interesting because people keep asking me like, yo, was he looking like this before? Where did this come from, essentially? And the answer genuinely, and not even no hater shit. No, he didn't really look like this. He didn't look like this the last time. He didn't look like this in the preseason when it was him versus Anthony Gordon like 2 years ago. He didn't look like this the 3 games he started last year. He didn't look like this in training camp. He didn't look like this in the preseason. He legitimately flipped the switch. I know Geno will say this has been in him all along, and who am I to say that it has not? But it just hasn't come out of him. If that makes sense. It probably has been there the whole time. For whatever reason, after week 2 loss to San Francisco, Pete Carroll just kind of gave him the keys and said, you're go ahead and drive this thing how you see fit. And he's been cooking, ever since. So that it's truly kind of come out of nowhere in that regard. He wasn't just like eating behind the scenes and everybody knew this type of Geno season was coming. He's legitimately done something I didn't think he'd be able to do, in that push the ball downfield without sacrificing accuracy or ball security.
Man,
those two, if you can do that, then you're elite. I don't, it doesn't have to be a bunch of sidearm throws and stuff like Mahomes. You just do that thing as a quarterback very well, and you'll be elite. Everyone can operate quick game or whatever, hit your number one, but can you push it? Can you push that ball and give us the explosives without getting strip sacked, without throwing it to the other team, and still putting it on a rope? And the answer is yes for Geno. And I don't care how old he is, whatever. Those guys who can do that trait, they get paid. So Geno's earned himself a nice pay.
Yeah, he gonna give him some money somewhere. I assume that hopefully they keep him around in Seattle, man. I think that'd be a good look, and then draft a quarterback to just help him groom them, man. I think that'd be an awesome look. But I'm with you. His play's been awesome. So we got a spectacular linebacker walking around the Palouse nowadays, man. His name is Deion Henley. He was a transfer from Nevada, man. And I know we kind of talked. We talked a little bit about it, right? We talked a little bit about it as far as just with his range, his versatility. I know that you mentioned that he'll be a monster on teams and things of that nature. So what do you think about his NFL potential?
Yeah, as I've been covering the league, it's like my 6th year now. I don't know linebacker play like you do, necessarily, but like I'm just learning more about the game and kind of seeing what can.
Now you know it now, bro. I've been seeing your breakdowns. You know it. No, you know it now. You know it. You're well versed.
I'm learning. Run fits is actually something I've really been on this year. Like a couple years ago, it was fronts. This year, 2 years ago, it was coverages. This last year, it's been run fits is what I really been picking up on. And the way he can shed blocks and kind of just see the way he stays square to the line, he's just a missile. Like he's very. I can see why Dickert has him on teams because he feels space really well and he tackles really well. And he's just he's really athletic and really big,
bro, he reminds me of Michael. Like, I know that's wild, but when you see him, he kind of look like his build is like a Michael Parsons kind of build. I'm not saying he's going to be an edge rusher, but I do see that kind of build with him. He's super athletic too, and like you said, he could tackle in space. Yeah, like he can legitly tackle. And I don't think people understand. I know you understand. It's hard to tackle in space,
right?
It's not easy, dude. That's what made Cam special. That's what made Earl special, because guys like those, they could just tackle one space for a Bobby, KJ, the whole 9, right? So I think
is he a former receiver?
Yep. I think, man, he had to be something. He went to Crenshaw High School. His dad is Big U, a famous dude up in LA. If you especially within our community, you would know who Big U is, man. And he grew up like around watching DeAnthony Thomas, watching Greg Ducre, right? Watching some of those elite athletes come out of Crenshaw. So he's from that like Snoop Youth Football League kind of background, right? So being from LA, bro, I'm telling you, if you're a linebacker, you're gonna end up playing receiver, you're gonna be playing slot, you're gonna be playing quarterback, you're gonna be playing everything. So I do think that him being from LA and playing multiple positions help him play a linebacker with that super athletic way.
Yeah, no, I like him. He can turn and run. Like, you know how you have to be able to do now in the NFL, you got to be able to run with the number 3 receiver in most teams now as an inside backer. He can turn and do that and look natural doing it, and then come down and fit runs or short yard situations. I don't know what his draft prospects look like specifically, but when I see him, I'm like, he's going to play teams his rookie year no matter what. And then if somebody get hurt ahead of him, he's probably going to be ready for the opportunity because he has a lot of the tools that an LB coach would like.
Absolutely, man. So, real quick before I get you out of here, man, and you can finish sipping your wine while you're watching this amazing football.
Cider. I'm on the cider.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the cider.
Hey, man, let me tell you something, man. Cougs, man, we start early, man.
I know. I just woke up, so I'm just getting something sugary in me to get this bacon.
So, what's your Apple Cup prediction, man? What do you think the score is, and who you think gonna win ultimately?
I mean, I think we'll win today. I think that what's going to be key is if we can run the ball effectively. I just think there's so many times. What I've learned about football is you have the threat of the other thing has to be real. So if you're like a run team, like one of these like military schools, the threat of throwing it helps if it's real. Absolutely. That way that the defense has to respect it, and it works in inverse too. If you have the air raid, you throw. The threat of the other thing, the run game, has to be real. You got to have that balance. Otherwise, a defensive coordinator who's never coordinated a game before can beat you, because if you're predictable. And I think that if we can,
when we was there, we had a lot of that. No disrespect to Leach, but when we was there, they rush 3, drop 8, and I kind of got some heat from a tweet this week because I mentioned that, I was watching last year Apple Cup, and what stood out to me obviously was having a mobile QB. Jaden Delora, what he did well was that when they try to rush 3, he could create time within the pocket, and now scramble drill hits, and now you can hit these receivers on the scramble drill. When we had Khan and Luke, they weren't doing no scramble drill.
No. The thing about the drop 8 coverage is just almost impossible to throw on. I mean, it's just what got Mahomes in the AFC title game last year, and that's Mahomes. Cincinnati dropping 8. The other thing is the mobility helps because those 3 usually aren't very your best pass rushers. It's guys like a Danny Shelton rushing you as part of that 3. You got to be able to get away from Danny Shelton. You know what I mean? And if you can't, we can't throw. Then we're not running it. And drop 8 also allows them to get super exotic. They can send any blitz. They can call any coverage.
And let's be real too. When we was there, UW has Sark recruits there too. Like Sark has some boys there, right? From like the Sidney Jones to the Kevin Kings to the Buda Bakers to the Zane Victor. I mean, come on. I mean, we could literally run off the NFL talent that was on those defenses the years we came. No excuse, right? They still beat us, right? But I'm just saying, when you're so predictable, right? And it's funny because I was watching the Mississippi State Ole Miss game the other night, and I seen Mississippi State beat Ole Miss, and I was looking at the game. I was like, look at Leach running the ball. Look at Leach doing little things, right? Because you learn from your mistakes.
That's the name of the game, adapt or die, and we didn't do that in previous Apple Cups against Chris Peterson, and now, we got Nakia Watson. I'm so glad he's back.
God, bro.
He's just a difference maker. He keeps the defense honest because if you do want to drop and try to stop us, Nakia will hit you for a 40 ball. Just off one inside run. So I mean, that guard counter pull, we were hell out of that.
Dude, it's because when Jenkins was in, when Nakia was hurt, I like Jenkins. He's a nice young back, but man, right now at this point in his career, he's too easy to tackle. He's an easy tackle for defenders, right? Whereas Nakia, he invites that contact and he sheds that contact, man. And I'm with you, man. The power of Kia. I say Operation Kia. I say Operation Kia because when we give him the ball in that operation, we win, man. So I appreciate your time, man. For real, Mike. I appreciate this, man. We got to get you back on the pod soon, man.
Oh, yeah, no problem. 23-20, man. I think we got it. I think we got it. I trust our defense, man. We shouldn't allow more than 20-21 against these guys. Our D-line is serious.
Bro, all right. I know we're going to win. We're going to win, but UW, that quarterback, Boy.
Oh, yo, I think I was gonna tweet this later when I looked it up.
Bro.
I'm pretty sure this is the first time Apple Cup history that both quarterbacks are black.
Black. You know, ain't that wild?
I'm
Ain't
pretty
that
sure.
wild?
I gotta check the last time we had two in the 80s. I just gotta make sure the UW quarterback wasn't black. I'm like 98%
For
sure.
sure, from our era, from like 2010 to now, no way. We've never seen it. I remember Keith Price was quarterbacking for UW a little bit, but that was against Constill, right? So, you know, that's historical right there. I didn't even think of that perspective right there, man. That blew my mind right there, having two black quarterbacks.
No matter what happens, like I'm very proud to that, just to look and see two black quarterbacks at two schools who've been around for over 100 years. That for the first time, and the game is in Pullman, you know, I take pride in that too. So like I'm really I wish I had more time from my day job to write something about that, because that's just super. I don't know if Mike and Cam, Michael Penix, their quarterback, recognized the significance of that for all of the black fans at both schools. You know?
Don't worry, I'll steal your idea and I'll talk about it.
Put that on Coop Fan something, man. I would love some content about that, because that's a huge deal for black alumni from both schools. That's huge. Representation's real, man.
Absolutely, brother. As always, Dugar, man. Oh, wait. Turkey Bowl. I know you was in some Turkey Bowl. How was the numbers in the Turkey Bowl?
Yo, my team didn't perform well. I should start out there. We didn't get the job done. I think I had 2 picks. I had a touchdown in the last game. Nasty one too. A couple picks and 1 touchdown. Yeah, it was a rough day for us offensively. I'm not gonna lie. Defensively, we was solid. It was solid. I've been rotating back and forth. I'm like either a post safety or a corner, and that post safety spot, man, I came home. I needed a nap. That's a lot of running. Once you get out there and play football for real, you realize that Earl Thomas and like Ed Reed are maybe the greatest football players ever. Because
that range, I tell people all the time, man. His range was crazy in that cover 3 system. To be able to like just be in the middle of the field and get to sideline with that speed and ferocity like he did, it's amazing, man. But all right, then, Mike, I appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna holler at you, big dog.
All right, man. Peace, man. Go Cougs.
So there you have it, folks. It was an awesome pregame show. We had special guests. The guests were amazing. I appreciate their insight. I cannot wait for this Apple Cup. Here is my final thoughts before the big game. I do think we will win a 31-28 ball game, right, guys? It's going to be very, very explosive, but at the same time, super physical. I do think our defense will be able to slow down Penix Jr. just enough. I think our DBs will be especially motivated for this challenge against the UW wide receivers. And I'm still thinking it's going to be an explosive game, a back-and-forth game. So I got us winning a tight one, 31-28. It's been an awesome pregame show, so I appreciate y'all time, right? As always, please, guys, go subscribe below, right, to the Leisure Time Podcast YouTube page. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Also subscribe to Coop Fan Twitter. I'll be taking over their Twitter account. This Apple Cup, guys, I'll be on the field giving you insight, analysis, pregame, postgame, and during the game, guys. So that's going to be pretty cool and pretty awesome. So please go subscribe to CougFan.com and also go follow their Twitter page for all my in-game live analysis and insight. Appreciate you guys, and I'll leave y'all with this. Raise your glass. I don't care what you put in it. It's the nights that you can't take back. We're going to win. We're going to win, guys.